Okay. I'm up. Right. Let's get dressed. And I'm desperate for some coffee. Let's get on with this day. Right, this is no fancy coffee montage. Alexa, play my chilled mix. Go elsewhere. Any other YouTuber video will show you that. This is just some instant shit. A bit more, please. Thank you. Right, let's get on with the video. 5 tips on creating a YouTube film. By me. So you want to create one of those short films for YouTube, get thousands of views and become a famous star. Well, I can't guarantee that's going to happen from my tips, but I do have a little bit of knowledge that I'd like to share with you. First things first, carry a notebook in your pocket. Hasn't got to be a field notes, but they're a very handy size. Get one that's a pocket-sized notebook and write down any ideas you have. You'll thank me later. But the reason I carry this around with me also is, as soon as that idea is down, I then dive into kind of the camera moves, the idea for a thumbnail, what music should I put with the film, the story and the script and the bullet points for shot list. I get it all down in a very rough, quick form because I've found in the past that using a phone it doesn't work, it's not instant enough, and heaven forbid you try and remember all these ideas and get them on a bit of paper later on. Pointless, they'll be gone. Get them down instantly. My second tip is location. You need to think about the time of day you're going to be shooting. How is that going to be affected by the light? Have you got to bring in artificial light? Do you rely on sunlight? Check the weather, time of day. If you're going to go and film various locations, consistency is key. So you need to make sure the lighting stays relevant throughout the film. Also think about the actual location of where you're going to be shooting. Is there a particular shot that you can envisage? A bit like I did with my Notebook short film. I knew that beginning scene was going to be with those almost like symmetrical frames either side of my head. That was planned out. It wasn't by chance that I did that, but that idea was written down and I followed it through. Think about also the camera settings. The amount of times I have accidentally nudged the camera while moving between shots and I've made the frame rate go from 50 to 60. It almost makes the shot rendered useless, so before every shot, or every so often, check that your settings are still dialed in, make sure they are consistent throughout, make sure you set your white balance and keep that in manual. Don't let auto white balance take over. Your shots will then vary in color and look. I had to manually change the white balance, for example, in the shower scene for the Notebook. Had to make it tone to the yellow vibe of the rest of the film, so auto white balance would have been a disaster for that. Manual white balance, check it. What lens are you going to use? And the aperture you're going to dial in. Do you want to use manual focus or autofocus? Variable ND filter. You know, if you're going to be filming in a bright sunny day, you have to put one of these on the lens. Do you have it? You should probably get one if not, because otherwise you can't get that nice aperture that you're after. Have a look at my video up in the corner about why a variable ND filter is so useful. All these things need to be considered before you actually hit record and get too far into the film. Another great tip would be keeping organized and being efficient. If you're going to be filming an end scene in the same location as one of the beginning scenes, get that shot there and then. There's no point in going through your shot list in order. That isn't the efficient way of doing it. If you can limit the amount of times you've got to move the camera, perfect. So get all the shots that you need before moving on to a different location, but just try and stay organized and efficient with your shots. Also, keep it organized in filing. It's a nightmare once you get further into the editing, and if your films become bigger and bigger with more footage, try and keep those folders organized and definitely create bins within your project. Try and limit the amount of clutter that is in your timeline or your source window. It's so much more easy to understand where the shots are if you can break them down into folders. Keep all your clips in one, or your sequences in another one, maybe all your adjustment layers in another one. Just keep that nice and clean. It'll make editing a lot smoother and your head won't feel messed up. Busy workstation or busy work desktop is, it's just clutter, and how can you work effectively in clutter? You just can't. So keep that clean. My last tip is thumbnail. If you've got an idea for a thumbnail, get it down quick and make sure you capture it. Don't rely on a still from the actual film. You know, for starters, it will have motion blur, so you can't get a nice crisp freeze frame from that, even if you're shooting 4K. The fact is, you're shooting at probably a 50 frames per second shutter speed, so there's always gonna be a slight bit of movement, and you can't freeze that hand there halfway through and expect to get a nice crisp hand. So if you can actually make the time to get a photograph, that is the way to go for thumbnails. Also, don't forget about the bare essentials of a thumbnail. Bottom right, there's a timestamp. Keep that area clear, make it vibrant, make it pop. Make sure it's just something that you want to click on yourself. I've got a bit of an advantage because I'm from a design background, so I know kind of what looks good, but I'm no expert. And YouTube is full of people that are not designers, or, you know, people that have got a creative eye watching it. It's full of the public, and they'll click on things that are bright, colorful, in your face, and interesting. I hope you found these tips useful. Just the tip of the iceberg in terms of creating content. These tips can be used for not just short films, but for any video creation for YouTube, product reviews, tutorials, vlogs. Most important part of all of this to me is your thumbnail and planning. Get those two down and you're on your way to a successful video. Thanks for watching. It's not the best setup at the moment, so thank you for bearing with me. I'll be doing some tweaks to this room to try and make it a bit more usable as a space while I'm stuck in this room. And if you like this sort of stuff, I'm hoping you'll follow me along the way and support me. So please like, subscribe. See you on the next video. Bye. Bye.